Hello once again everyone, this is Hannibal of Carthage bringing you another online multiplayer battle for Rome Total War. This battle was just me and a couple friends. We were all online at the same time, so we figured why not. So we're just kind of messing around. When it comes to this battle, I am the most experienced player. As you will see, both of them were fairly new to the game, or at least to multiplayer especially. So one of the main reasons why I wanted to show you guys this battle was one, it was a fun battle just between friends, and also I wanted to use it as a little bit kind of an instructional video, I guess. Not instructional, just like give some tips maybe to just kind of help you guys play the game better if you guys feel like wanting to learn a little. So because these guys are new that I'm playing, they do make some mistakes when it comes to like army setup or just kind of how they choose to fight. That I'm going to kind of point out things that they shouldn't have done and things they could have done better. But by no means am I saying these guys are bad. Like I said, they're new, so I'm not trying to bash on them at all. So I just like you guys to keep that in mind as I'm pointing things out. I'm not trying to bash them in any way. But anyways, so I'm playing as the Macedonians, and this is probably actually my favorite faction in the game. I just have really always enjoyed playing as Macedon. But anyways, I have, let's see here, I have 5 archers in the front here, and then for my main infantry line, I have 6 of these royal pikemen. They are not in formation at the moment, so I can run them wherever I need to. And then behind them, I have 6 units of companion cav. I think they look really cool and they're really great cav. So, alright, so this guy, he's playing as Rome. He brought an interesting army. I definitely would not have brought this kind of army, but I mean, he could have used it. I guess, I mean, it would still work. It's just he could have used it a lot more effectively than he does, as I'll show you. But anyways, he brought 3 units of these early legionary first cohorts, and then back here 1 unit of legionary first cohort, and then 3 units of urban cohorts, and 1 unit, see there, of auxilia. So that's his infantry. And then he brought 8 units of archer auxilia, and in my opinion, it's a little too much. I normally don't go more than 5 or 6 units of archers, because I mean, they can definitely help you win a game, but honestly, I think if you bring too many, it makes your army, weak and not very mobile, because you're trying to protect your archers, because you're trying to basically win the game with them. So I don't know. I probably would have brought a few less and maybe spent the money on more cav, because he has very few cav in this game. But anyways, he also brought he brought 3 units of Praetorian cav, which is pretty great cav, and then 1 unit of Roman armored general. But his general is actually in this unit here. And I think I actually forgot to show you my general, which is I have him in this unit of companion cavalry. He's right there. I think the Greek generals look the coolest out of all of them. And then my other friend, he brought Carthage. Now he brought a pretty good army, but he just doesn't use it effectively. Now I'll point out some things. But he brought, let's see here, 8 units of these Sacred Band, which are great infantry, and then 5 of these Balearic Slingers. And then for his cav force, he brought 5 units of these Sacred Band cavalry and 1 unit of General's Armored Bodyguard, where his general is. Alright, so go back over here, because the battle starts on our side, between me and Rome here. So, alright, so I saw Carthage moving, and I thought he was moving in on Rome, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna move up on Rome too, and we'll, trap him in between, because I wasn't really looking too close at his army. I just thought he brought a ton of infantry, so I was a little worried, which is why I was glad that, at least I thought Carthage was moving in on him, when in reality he isn't. But in any case, I'm just gonna quick show you what Carthage is doing here. I'm gonna pause it. So when I was watching this replay, I was actually kind of confused as to what Carthage was doing. Like I said, he's very new, so I'm not really sure what he was thinking. I wasn't really able to, talk to him too much about it. But because I mean, he's sending infantry, he's sending pretty much all of his troops in random directions, and I'm not really sure why. Because I mean, he has the infantry facing this way, they're going back, so I'm not really sure what he's doing. And at one point, he actually will send one of his units of Sacred Band, just one, at the Roman player, and they'll just get destroyed between the archers and his Praetorian Cav, and so that's just basically a waste of the Cav unit. But I guess the first thing is, don't ever split up your army. Your army is most effective when it's together and you can have, the most force facing the enemy. Because if you're spread out like this, it just makes you easier to be picked apart. And that's kind of what happens to the Roman player. Only he's not so random. And I mean, the Carthage eventually, I will eventually end up attacking Carthage, and he will, for the most part, have his army back together. I just don't know what he was doing in the very beginning there. But Rome, what he'll do is he'll end up splitting up his army in half. He'll have this half facing me, and this half waiting for Carthage to attack when he never does, which basically lets me destroy this wing. And then he only has he only has a few of these guys left, and which is not enough to stand up against me, whereas if he had brought his whole army up to bear against me, he might have had a little better chance. Anyways, so I'm going to try to attempt to get some more close-ups when it comes to the actual fighting. I want to, get more closer to that. It's just having the overhead view all the time. I mean, it's interesting to kind of see what's going on, but I think the close-ups are also really fun. So I'm trying to figure out ways to get more close-ups into my battles here. So, in any case, if you guys have any suggestions of how to do that, or ways to make my videos better, I will gladly hear them. So we're engaging in an archer duel at the moment. I'm focus firing my archers on different units, and I thought this unit was an archer unit, and so I was firing on them, and it turns out it's just his auxilia. So I have my archers now focusing on his. He's going to rush up his auxilia, and it wasn't necessary to put these units into Testudo because I wasn't firing at them. He's going to rush these guys up, and I'm going to rush my cav off to my left. These guys are going to break just because of all the infantry. These guys, he made a mistake here. He attacks my archers and gets caught on these pikes, and this unit of Praetorian Cav just gets destroyed, which is not good for him. He has just, he didn't do that much damage to my archers, and he got a unit of really good Cav destroyed. So now I'm set here. I kind of see that he's split up his army. I still think there's a lot of infantry, so I'm not willing to commit my Cav here just yet. But I see his army split up, so what I'm hoping to do is to engage these guys and then send in my Cav right in the middle of them and just destroy this. That's kind of what happens too, because and it works out even better because these guys are archers and I didn't realize that. Let's see here. I believe, yeah, I'm starting to shred these archers pretty well. These guys are down to 25, 59. These guys are just starting to get hit, but and that's the other thing is he's using flaming shot where I'm using regular, and so with flaming, it's less accurate, and it's only real use for flaming shot is when you have your enemy surrounded and you're just trying to break their morale even quicker. Because honestly, and the other thing with flaming shot is you don't fire as quickly or as often, and so I can get off more volleys than he can, and they're more accurate. So honestly, using Flaming Shot was not the best choice here, because his archers do outmatch mine, but because he splits up his army and is using Flaming Shot, I'm able to destroy him, or destroy his archers. So he didn't upgrade his infantry, and mine were upgraded, even though he had more of it. And so I'm just tearing apart his Romans. He does get some kills with his Pila, but when he actually rushes in, I don't think he gets that many kills, and his men are routing. And here we go. So I send in this one unit of cav. They start tearing up his archers. And I realize, at that point, I realize that they're all just archers. And so I send in the rest of my cav. He does send in his Praetorians to try to stop him up, but he doesn't have enough to actually do much against my companions. And once again, mine are more upgraded than his Praetorians are, so they're just, and I heavily outnumber him, so he's just gonna break and run. I'm gonna finish chasing down these archers.
The enemy general is running away. This is no way for a leader to behave, but in battle, it is beyond belief.
So at this point, he had these guys starting to go towards Carthage, and then when he saw me destroying his army, he ran them back, and I thought he was going to attack me, so I ran my troops up, and he just runs past them. I think he might have been chasing after my cavalry here, but in the end he just runs them right on by and down the hill and camps there for the rest of the match. And so I just decided, well, I'm just gonna focus on Carthage. If he's not gonna try to attack me, I'm not gonna bother with him. I'm gonna take out the more dangerous foe on the field now. As you can see, this is where Carthage attacked with one of his sacred band and got destroyed between the archers and Praetorian cav, but I still have most of my army intact, but my archers were really kind of what took the beating, just because his archers did outmatch mine, even though he didn't use them as effectively as he possibly could have. The other thing that was helpful when it came to like the skirmishing fight between, when it came to me and both of my opponent's armies, was I had my archers in loose formation, where Rome and Carthage have their skirmishers in tight formation, which means that for every volley that happens, or that I send off towards his skirmishers, they're getting more kills because they're more tightly compacted, whereas many of his shots are missing because mine are in loose formation. So when it came to fighting Carthage, his Balearic Slingers worried me because I knew Balearic Slingers are really good, and I knew they highly outmatched my archers, and my archers were already depleted from fighting Rome. And so the Balearic Slingers in the very early stages of this fight were the Balearic Slingers were my focus. And here's the thing though, is I'm gonna pause it again. If you see how Carthage has his army, I mean, they're more together than they were, but they're still kind of in random locations, and they're all kind of tightly compacted, which means he's not gonna be able to use them as effectively as he possibly could because they're just kind of everywhere. And the other thing I kind of want to point out is how he has his infantry. So, I mean, some of his infantry is like this, which is okay, but this is very bad when it comes to phalanx formations and pike units, because like the strength of a pike unit is in, it's going to sound redundant, but the strength of a pike unit is in its pikes, and which means they say like the more pikes you can have facing the enemy, the stronger that unit is going to be. And so when it comes to using pike units, you're trying to find like the equilibrium, I guess, or the middle ground of how you don't want your formation stretched too thin, because then they will, and as you'll see over here, I'll have one of my units that'll be stretched too thin, and he'll be able to just push right through the middle and destroy them. But you also don't want them too not thin, but too thick, I guess, because because here he doesn't have that many pikes facing out in front. His formation is long and skinny, and so whereas I have mine spread out. And so here's the thing is, so when I attack him, I probably have 20 some odd pikes facing out at a time, and it's basically the first two rows that are doing the main attacking, which means I have 40 pikes facing out, you know, about. So I have 40 pikes attacking him when he only has, I believe there's 5 guys up in front of here, which means if the first two rows are the ones fighting, he has 10 pikes facing my 40 for every fight, unit on unit. And so because I have more pikes facing him, even though his units, or even though his Sacred Band are better than my royal pikemen, I'm going to be doing more damage to him just because I have more pikes attacking him at all times. And the other thing is that because my formation is more spread out than him, I'm going to have pikes attacking him from the front, and the rest of the unit is actually going to wrap around his and start attacking him from the flanks, which destroys both of our formations, and this area here becomes just a giant brawl, and so which takes the strength out of both of our units, and basically ends up meaning that numbers will win at that point. If when you take a phalanx formation or a phalanx unit out of formation and have them fight just with their swords, the strength of that unit is basically taken away, and so it comes down to numbers. Or like if you were fighting Rome, your phalanx troops would just be getting destroyed, because one-on-one they're not going to match up against Rome, but in formation they're strong. And because of my, well, I have superior cav too, and so that's going to help, but because I have more units or more men per unit than he does, because it's just become a giant brawl, he's going to do some damage to me, a lot of damage, but the numbers are going to tell because of that. Whereas if he had his men more spread out, it maybe would have, sorry, my dog's barking in the background, hope you don't hear that, but oh, I lost my train of thought now. But anyways, because numbers will tell, I guess is what I was trying to say. Anyways, and because of my superior cav, I'm going to be able to destroy his and start at least attempting to do some hammer and anvil. But so I guess what I'm trying to say is you want to find that that good middle ground of how much you want to spread out your pikes, but you don't want them too spread out, because then they'll be too thin and be weak at that point. So yeah, I guess if you understood what I was trying to say in that, well, I hope you do. It was kind of a long drawn out thing. I'm not really sure if I got my point across, but I hope I did. In any case, I'm going to start advancing here, and you'll see play out what I was trying to say, and hopefully you'll understand what I meant. So slingers actually fire more often than archers do. And really, I mean, fortunately for me, he has his army kind of spread out, and so he doesn't have all of his slingers attacking all at once. And he has them in tight formation, so I'm focused firing on his units. And at this point, I'm kind of worried about his slingers, so I send in this cav unit to try to take some of them out, and they get caught by some of his own and destroyed. But I do end up at least taking out one unit of slingers, I'm like, well, at this point I'm thinking, well, standing here is not going, or I guess sitting here and just firing away is, I'm going to lose this fight if I do that. So I'm going to move up my infantry here in a moment. There they go. As you can see, my archers are getting destroyed because they cannot stand up against the Blerick slingers. I'm not totally sure how, but somehow some of my archers survive, which is a miracle. But so these units are a little better off, they're a little more spread out, but they're still too compact, in my opinion. He's not getting the full use out of them he could have. Alright, here we go, we're colliding here. As you can see, these guys are now wrapping up and around their flank. And so they start switching to swords, which just collapses the entire formation, especially here. And it's just going to become like a giant brawl. So I've split my cavalry into two wings here. I have 2 on this side, 3 on this side. I destroyed 1 unit of Sacred Band with these guys. I don't think his units are upgraded somewhat, but his Sacred Band are not. And so because my companion cav are better already and upgraded, they're going to very quickly destroy his Sacred Band. Here's where I got my this unit is spread out too thinly, and so his compact formation is going to press right through the middle there, and they're just going to get destroyed. Now, as you can see, it's just a giant brawl. I mean, some of these guys, because they're in a long, skinny line, are in formation, but for the most part, it's just become a giant brawl. I'm starting to do handle and anvil strikes with my cavalry, but because some of his units are still in formation, I'm going to take a number of casualties. What was annoying here was his cavalry and his slingers, for some reason, kept coming back from being routed. So, because I'm going to continually keep routing them, and they're going to come back and cause just a few more casualties, and then I'm going to rout them again. But overall, I've won this fight.
The gods have filled the enemy trees the field like a coward.
Another handle and hammer. I totally said that wrong. Hammer and anvil strike.
Your general ally is dead because of his foolishness. His men will lose heart.
And I lost my general there because some of his men there were still in formation. And usually you don't want to charge cav into a pike formation, but I had enough that I wasn't too worried about it. So these guys are out of ammunition now, so I'm actually gonna like run them into the melee. These guys, on the other hand, actually still have some shots, which is amazing. I finish off his cavalry right there. Archers against slingers. So the sheer amount of troops come down on him, it just causes them to rout, at least the slingers, and then these guys are going to get destroyed. I caught these guys on the flank, and so they're going to run and just get destroyed as well. And I'm going to clean them up with my cav. So this is basically the last stand of the Carthaginian army. Actually still have some archers left fighting in there. And there they go. Alright, so Carthage, even though he had his army kind of set randomly, he still did do an incredible amount of damage to me because of the fact that his troops were better, and the way he had them caused mine to get out of formation. And so eventually numbers did tell, and the fact that I had spirit cavalry, but his troops were still better, and so they did do a serious amount of damage to my army. I mean, I do have enough, at least at this point I'm hoping I have enough to finish off Rome. I believe I do. And I mean, because I still have cavalry left, I'm feeling pretty confident because Rome doesn't have any cavalry left. And these guys are still pretty healthy here. So these guys came back from routing, and so I'm going to peel off this unit of companion cav to kill them because they were starting to really annoy me. So I'm going to walk my troops over to where Rome is. And the reason why I walk them is because, I mean, they've just gotten done basically destroying 2 armies, and so, I mean, most of them are tired or exhausted. And if you walk your troops, I mean, I am going to run my cav for a moment here, but I'm going to start walking. And if you walk your troops, it allows them to basically like rest, and his troops are fresh and mine aren't, and so I want them as fresh as possible going into this fight. So I'm going to walk them all the way across so that they can rest up and be as energized as possible to finish off these Romans. Now he's put his men into Testudo, and these guys actually aren't fresh, they're exhausted. And probably because I think he might have had his man in Testudo this whole time, which tires them out when you're having to move. And I believe he was running them all over the place, which really, I mean, you don't need to run your troops everywhere, because if you do that, they'll just get tired when it's not really necessary. And even it can be detrimental, especially when you're not fighting. He does have 1 unit of archers left, but because they're on flaming mode, they're not doing much damage to me at all. I actually have 3 units of archers left. That's incredible. One of them is out of ammunition, but 2 of them still have ammunition. Now I'm just kind of going to finish him off. So this is actually good for me because his troops are exhausted, because they've been in Testudo and they've been running around. Mine are, you know, these guys are warmed up, winded, warmed up, and so even that is actually better than exhausted. I'm gonna take some more damage from the Pila, but because I have the cav advantage here, I'm just gonna wreck the remainder of his forces. These guys might actually rout even before I get my cavalry in there. Yeah, there they go.
The enemy army is in flight! Pursue them! Drive them from the battlefield!
Alright, so at this point, because they were new, they didn't realize you can just choose admit defeat, and so they both just quit the battle, which meant I had to chase down all the running units if I wanted to finish the battle quickly, which was kind of annoying, but I wasn't going to harp on them for it just because I knew they were new. And so I'm going to cut out here, and then I'm going to show you guys the results when they show up. Alright, so the results of the battle were I deployed 1,451 men. I had 2,507 kills with 607 men remaining. So I did take a fair amount of damage to my army. Carthage, it was mostly Carthage actually, but Carthage, he deployed 1,343 men, had 779 kills, and had 98 men remaining. And the Roman player, he deployed 1,650 men, had 408 kills with 86 men remaining. So it was a good game to them. It was a fun battle. Like I said, it was just, I just want to show you guys this just to show you just some things to watch out for, what not to do, what you can do, just things to think about. But like I said, I wasn't trying to bash on these guys. They were new, and it was a fun battle. We all enjoyed it. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.